Did you know that in 2023, Canada exported over $450 billion worth of goods to the US? But now, this trade relationship, worth nearly $900 billion annually, is on the brink of collapse. Why? Because President Trump has threatened a 100% tariff on Canadian cars and metals, potentially sending shockwaves through the global economy. The stakes? And $50 billion loss for the US, and a very real possibility that Canada could pivot to Europe instead. In this video, we're diving deep into what's really going on between Canada and the US, and how it could impact your wallet. Stick around to find out how this trade war could change your life. Chapter 1. The US-Canada trade relationship. To understand what's happening now, we need to take a quick look at the historical trade relationship between the US and Canada. For decades, the two countries have been deeply integrated economically. In 2023 alone, bilateral trade between the US and Canada was valued at a staggering $762.1 billion. The US accounts for about 75% of Canada's exports, or roughly $450 billion per year. A significant portion of this trade is made up of automobiles, steel, and aluminum, materials crucial for a wide range of industries. The US imports approximately $56.35 billion worth of vehicles from Canada, a substantial portion of which come from Canada's manufacturing plants in Ontario and Quebec. In fact, over 20% of Canada's GDP is tied to its trade with the US, highlighting just how intertwined the two economies are. But things are beginning to get tense. Canada is asking, are we still allies? And that's because President Trump has thrown a grenade into the mix by threatening to slap a 100% tariff on Canadian-made cars and metals. This would be a direct hit to Canada's economy, with the potential to throw the global supply chain into chaos. Now, let's bring this closer to home. If tariffs on Canadian cars and steel go up, we could see the prices of cars and construction materials like steel skyrocket. Think about it. If you're in the market for a new car, a $30,000 SUV might suddenly cost $40. Or if you're planning a home renovation, the cost of steel and aluminum could rise, leading to higher prices for everything from appliances to new homes. Chapter 2. The Tesla angle, a strategic target. Now, let's talk about why Canada might target Tesla specifically. Tesla isn't just another car company. It's valued at over $800 billion. SAN is at the forefront of the electric vehicle revolution. In fact, Tesla has reshaped the auto industry in North America and beyond. But Tesla's relationship with Canada is more complicated than just selling cars. Canada plays a crucial role in Tesla's supply chain, particularly when it comes to the raw materials needed to build EV batteries. In 2024 alone, over 48,000 Teslas were sold in Canada. That's a significant market for the company, especially considering the Canadian government's generous rebates and policies aimed at encouraging greener transportation. However, if Canada imposes a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles, a $50,000 Model Y could suddenly cost $100. Effectively pricing most Canadians out of the market. But the impact on Tesla goes far deeper. Tesla is also heavily reliant on Canadian mining for critical EV materials like lithium, nickel, and cobalt. These minerals are key to the production of batteries for electric vehicles, and Tesla has already entered into long-term contracts with Canadian suppliers. In fact, Canada is one of the world's largest producers of nickel, lithium, and cobalt, all of which are essential for battery production. Without access to these resources, Tesla could face production delays, and sourcing from less stable suppliers could drive up costs. Elon Musk himself has called Canada a game changer for Tesla's supply chain. So if Canada decides to halt the flow of these vital materials, it could disrupt Tesla's entire manufacturing process. For everyday consumers, this could mean fewer affordable electric vehicles on the market. Tesla's prices could double overnight, putting eco-friendly cars out of reach for many. For those who were looking to make the switch to electric vehicles as part of a greener lifestyle, the cost could become prohibitive. Plus, with the supply chain issues, delays in getting a new Tesla or other EVs could become common, further frustrating the transition to greener transportation. Chapter 3. The US-Canada trade war, a big gamble for both sides. Now, let's zoom out and consider the broader implications of this trade war. If the US follows through on these tariffs, the effects will ripple across the entire North American economy. The US auto industry is especially vulnerable because it depends heavily on Canadian steel, aluminum, and car parts. In 2023, Canada exported over $22.4 billion in auto parts to the US. And don't forget, Mexico's auto sector is also part of this North American trade web. Mexico produces around 3.94 million cars annually, many of which rely on Canadian parts and materials. If these cross-border supply chains break down, we could see severe disruptions in the US and Canadian auto industries. If a 100% tariff is enacted, it could drive up the price of a $30,000 SUV to $40. Almost overnight. US consumers would feel the pinch, as the cost of vehicles, a cornerstone of American life, would skyrocket. On the Canadian side, auto manufacturing towns like Oshawa, Ontario, could face massive layoffs, as factories would struggle to remain competitive. This trade war could hit you directly at the gas pump, in your car insurance premium, or if you're planning to buy a new car. As prices increase due to tariffs on parts and materials, consumers could end up paying more for their vehicles. Factory workers in towns like Oshawa, Ontario, or Detroit, Michigan might lose their jobs as production slows, affecting local economies and pushing up unemployment rates. And that's not even considering the ripple effects in construction and manufacturing sectors, where price hikes in steel and aluminum could make even simple home improvement projects significantly more expensive. Chapter 4. The European Pivot. Can Canada really afford it? Here's the crucial question. Can Canada really afford to turn away from its massive trade relationship with the US and pivot toward Europe? The answer isn't straightforward. While Europe presents an attractive alternative, it comes with its own set of challenges. For one, the US-Canada trade relationship benefits from proximity. The two countries share a 500-mile border, which makes trade fast, cheap, and efficient. A shipment from Ontario to Detroit can take mere hours, but moving goods to Europe takes weeks. The shipping costs alone are 3 times higher to ship from Canada to Europe than to the US. However, Canada already has a trade deal with the European Union (EU) that's making this transition easier. The Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement (CETA), which was signed in 2017, removed 98% of tariffs on Canadian goods entering the EU. Since the deal came into effect, Canadian exports to the EU have surged by 27%. In 2022, bilateral merchandise trade reached $115.9 billion Canadian dollars, up from around $53.3 billion in 2020. The EU is an open market with 450 million consumers, and it's pushing for more green technologies like electric vehicles, which aligns perfectly with Canada's mineral resources. For the average consumer, a pivot toward Europe could mean more green technologies, including electric cars and sustainable building materials, but it could also lead to higher costs. For example, if Canadian goods, including cars and materials, become more expensive to ship to Europe, that could cause price increases for some products. Also, you might start seeing more European products like Volkswagen or BMW flooding the market as Canada looks to expand its trade opportunities, which could create more competition. Chapter 5. The EU Opportunity. Green Tech and Critical Minerals. Canada's rich reserves of lithium, nickel, and cobalt have caught Europe's attention. As Europe pushes to reduce carbon emissions and transition to greener industries, Canada's access to these critical minerals could make it a crucial supplier. The EU is already eyeing Canadian lithium and cobalt to fuel its own electric vehicle revolution. This puts Canada in a strong negotiating position. The EU is also focused on producing green steel, a low-carbon steel produced with cleaner methods, something Canada could support with its abundant iron ore and hydroelectric power. This shift could directly benefit consumers looking for eco-friendly products. More sustainable electric vehicles and green building materials could lower environmental impact. It also means Canada could become a key player in the global green economy, helping fight climate change while boosting its own industries. So, what do you think? Can Canada really stand its ground against the US, or will we see a breakthrough in relations? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want more in-depth analysis on global trade, economics, and geopolitics, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.